God is in control. And with that said, God, please.
Friends and family members of an American student missing in Japan coming together in solidarity as the search for the young man continues. 20-year-old James Higginbotham, who goes by Weston, went missing May 29th in Kyoto while on vacation with his family. His mother said they had a disagreement, and Weston went out to explore the city on his own, which she said wasn't unusual for him. But she became concerned when he apparently turned off his phone's location in the Life 360 app the family shares.
That was so concerning because it's so out of character for him. I said, something's not right, something's not right. I knew something was wrong.
Local police say Weston left Kyoto Station alone at 6 p.m. that day. He was last seen roughly 2 hours later on CCTV footage, walking alone in the city's Yamashina area, on a path leading to a hiking trail in a wooded area nearby. An exhaustive search is underway, and the family says the FBI is assisting. Assistance is also coming from ordinary Japanese civilians, with volunteers canvassing local areas to help.
I don't want anybody to think that we're thinking of him in the past, because we're not.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
You can take out your phones, open up your favorite AI app, and type the following: how could a Democrat senator make an annoying amendment?
By 4 a.m. Friday, things were getting testy on the Senate floor. But after more than 18 hours and dozens of votes, Senate Republicans passed an immigration bill.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 47.
The bill allots nearly $70 billion for ICE and Border Patrol and would last through the end of President Trump's term.
Democrats and some others refuse to vote for $1 for the border. Republicans have stepped up to do the job Democrats refuse to do.
Democrats had been holding out for immigration reforms like requiring judicial warrants and banning officers from wearing masks.
It helps keep agents accountable. It protects both the subject of enforcement actions as well as law enforcement officers themselves.
But those amendments failed. So did bipartisan amendments that would have banned President Trump from setting up his proposed $1.8 billion fund to pay people who claim they were persecuted by the government. Many worried the fund could make payouts to some of the January 6th rioters.
Attorney General Blanche says that the anti-weaponization fund will not be used. It is still part of an active settlement and absolutely can be used.
If the administration won't rule out potentially multi-million-dollar payments to those who assaulted police on these grounds, we must.
The House is set to vote on the immigration bill next week. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
The Iran war is now approaching the 100-day mark with a fragile ceasefire that's been going on for nearly 60 days.
We're going to win one way or the other. We're going to win on paper, or we're going to win military.
According to the Wall Street Journal, President Trump told aides privately the ceasefire would be over if Iran kills American troops, insisting the deal remains in place even after several attacks. The report goes on to say the president's hesitation to reignite the war suggests, quote, he might be willing to withstand smaller flare-ups for weeks or even months to avoid a broader conflict in the Middle East.
How do you define ceasefire?
It's a different part of the world. You know, I'd say in that part of the world, ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner. A ceasefire there is much different than a ceasefire in other parts of the world. Yeah.
So maybe the timeline has changed in a war once sold as a short military operation. But the White House says the goal is still the same, to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. It's still unclear, though, how much the regime is willing to negotiate.
The negotiations started with intense suspicion, and the exchange of messages is being done under the same atmosphere. So from that point of view, we should bear in mind that diplomacy does not replace military power.
And President Trump today said a deal could happen as early as this weekend, but it looks like Iran is denying progress. In New York, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
Increasing temperatures are beckoning boaters to bodies of water.
Just pulled the boat out first time in the summer, just got it in. My parents had us do it, so my brother and I out here doing the dirty work.
But steep fuel prices as a result of ongoing tensions in the Middle East are making waves. And unsettling wallets.
We'll just wait till everything goes down. Who knows? I guess it's a guessing game, but yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see.
It can already be costly to own a boat. According to RV and boat storage company Rec Nation, owners should plan on budgeting about 10% of the cost of their vessel each year for maintenance. And with AAA reporting the price of regular gas is 40% higher than last year, every cent is adding up, especially with ethanol-free recreational fuel that many boaters use costing even more.
Boaters are very hesitant to give up that time. And yes, there's no question that rising gas prices is on everyone's radar, and it's on boaters' radar.
But a new survey from the National Marine Manufacturers Association finds that the majority of owners will still be taking part in the season.
It doesn't stop most people, particularly in Michigan in the summer. We don't have a lot of summer. We love our summer. We have to get out in it. We can stay home in the winter.
Meanwhile, folks looking to try and soak up some savings might alter their plans.
It's going to force me in some respects to think about, you know what, I may not go as far. I may not go as fast. I may spend more time anchored and swimming. I may spend more time at the dock.
Going good. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Recreational fishermen had been counting down the days.
We originally set this up about three and a half months ago, was to go red snapper fishing on opening day.
In recent years, the red snapper fishing season off the Atlantic coast had been limited to 1 to 2 days. But all that was supposed to change this year.
Today we delivered the huge win for our great fishermen and anglers here in Florida. For years, our great fishermen have been punished with very short federal fishing seasons despite record high fish populations.
The administration's decision would have extended the season anywhere from 40 to 60 days, depending on the state. It's part of a larger push under President Trump to deregulate fisheries. The only way to keep snapper caught outside the recreational season is to have a special permit for research purposes. Otherwise, any snapper caught must be released.
When he made the announcement, he was expanding that window. We were all excited because we see what we catch every day, and they are by far the most abundant fish that we all catch.
But on the eve of opening day, a lawsuit brought by commercial fishermen whose season begins in July halted the recreational season. And conservationists worry the snapper stock isn't healthy enough to sustain that dramatic of an increase.
We'll be less likely to have a very viable fishery by the time we're allowed in. If you allow 45 vessels targeting on top of all the recreational anglers in our area, we're wondering what's going to be left.
There has been no science shown by the agency that suggests that this would not cause overfishing. It's tricky because this is a rebuilding fish stock right now, so people out on the water are seeing more of the fishery than they have seen in a long time. And so that gives them the sense that like everything is great and we should get to go fishing now. But a lot of the fish are very young, and if we deplete them down by increasing fishing pressure too hastily, then we'll damage the long-term health of the stock.
Here it goes. Back to the bottom.
I am a fisherman, and I can tell you what I see spending almost every day on the water, and that is that red snapper, for as long as we've been doing it, have not been overfished, have not undergone overfishing.
This is a judge in Washington, D.C., probably doesn't know the first thing about fishing, and they're doing this. It's not a good decision.
NOAA declined to comment on the snapper dispute, citing ongoing litigation. However, it said that it is working with fisheries managers across the country to better prioritize existing resources and streamline operations. Other legal challenges are expected, as the administration looks to ease federal oversight on dozens of other fish species.
The federal government is one piece of the puzzle of managing these fisheries. It is a broadly public participatory system where all of the states and stakeholders are on an even ground. This is another reason why we're so worried about the direction that these exempted fishing permits have taken us, because they skipped all of that public process.
We recognize the need for sustainability. We don't want to catch all the fish, then we'll be out of business. We want those conservation efforts, but we also want to be able to sustainably access our public resources.
is our USA section. This is for our fans, the US. Getting them ready. We got keeper jerseys, we got the jackets, the jerseys, the away jerseys. The typical players like Messi, so Argentina jerseys with Messi on the back, or the printed of Messi. Ronaldo jerseys for Portugal, Mbappe for France. Basically, and then the special pieces like the Brazilian jersey with Jordan collaboration. Unfortunately, Jamaica didn't qualify, but Jamaica had a specific piece with Bob Marley family. All those specific jerseys, they were flying over the counter.
I think $26 in New York nowadays is for a good size meal and a large drink is a bargain. Things have gotten so expensive. The wings, which are really one of our most popular things here, because we smoke them in wood. That's how they're cooked. And I think it's an opportunity for us to showcase what we do along with other restaurants. New York, look, there are great restaurants in New York, from barbecue to everything else anybody could want. So it gives people an opportunity, if they're here for a while, to try different things and still have some money for other things to do.
Me personally, I can't picture watching a game sober. It's just it's not as fun. I think having a drink, it kind of loosens you up. It makes you more excited.
I think with the World Cup coming up and a lot of fan fests and the high temperatures, I think the accessibility to getting water is always a challenge.
I can guarantee that almost 100% that we're going to have heat waves during the period of the World Cup.
So if you go hard with alcohol, the primary effect doesn't actually seem to be while you're into heat, it's the next day. So it's probably not acutely when you're coming in fresh and you have a few drinks that's the issue. It's probably going to be multiple days where the dehydration can start to add up.
You gotta keep it in moderation, just loosen up a little bit and, make friends and stuff. But yeah, not take it too far, because especially with the heat and all that, it's not gonna be a good thing.
If you're traveling to a host city for the FIFA World Cup, transportation is likely on your mind. Here in Atlanta, there's a direct route from the airport to the stadium. And they've made it pretty simple too with a new tap and pay system. Atlanta will host 8 World Cup games this summer, while some host cities like New York and Boston are charging up to 7 times the normal price to ride public transit to the games. For just $2.50 each way, fans in Atlanta can ride the MARTA train to the center of the action. In just under 30 minutes and one train transfer, here we are at Atlanta Stadium for the FIFA World Cup. Earlier this year, Congress appropriated $100 million for the 11 host cities in the U.S., preparing to welcome millions of fans. The U.S. Department of Transportation says the funding will ensure communities can expand transit options to meet increased demand in services to stadiums.
It's very rare that you get so many countries, coming into one country as like a guest. It only happens every 4 years. A lot of people forget the importance of that.
Flavio Nominati is an Argentine football loyalist and will be traveling from San Diego to Miami for a potential Argentina match in the knockout stage. Since the stadium is 17 miles outside of Miami, he's looking at the options Miami is offering in terms of transportation. That city announced it will be offering free shuttles to games from 4 hub locations. Fans will just need a match ticket to board. For its part, Atlanta is using funds to add to its train system, adding more CCTV cameras, Wi-Fi in the tunnels, and event-specific signage in stations. For someone who has traveled to many matches domestically and abroad, one thing he's been struck by this time is the cost.
The sticker shock for that was extremely real, extremely real.
And he's not alone.
I bought a hospitality ticket, which was very expensive, and another ticket for my kids, but we spent a lot of dollars on it.
A study found by FIFA and the World Trade Organization found this year's World Cup could add roughly $41 billion to global GDP. In the U.S. alone, it could be more than $17 billion in GDP generated. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Job growth was stronger than expected in May. Employers added 172,000 jobs last month. That's higher than economists' prediction of roughly 80,000 new jobs. The unemployment rate remained at a low 4.3%. The new report suggests resilience in the economy. Lululemon Athletica cut its annual profit outlook for the year amid forecasted sales declines, pointing to unforeseen challenges. Among those hurdles include, quote, negative commentary in the media. The athleisure company says some product launches also missed the mark. And a new report from Challenger Gray and Christmas predicts teens might struggle to get a summer job this year. Signs point to it being the worst summer for teen employment since 1948. With less jobs available, rising inflation and growing fuel prices are squeezing small businesses where teens typically flock to for summer work. And you can now get a Subway sandwich with your Walmart grocery delivery in select locations. The retail giant is rolling out express delivery from the roughly 1,400 Subway locations inside Walmart stores. It's part of a broader move to expand its delivery capabilities. CJ Papa, Fox News.
It's a cornerstone of cuisine, stacked onto sandwiches, tossed into salads, and diced into salsa. But you may have also noticed the simple tomato is getting a whole lot more expensive. Tomato prices are up 40% in the U.S. over the past year, and while it may not put as big a dent in your wallet as the rising cost of gas, it still can sting. So what's going on? First up are crop issues driven by weather and pests. But two issues with President Donald Trump at the center are also at play. Those are the war in Iran, which has driven up shipping costs, and tariffs, which have been slapped on imports from Mexico, the top source for tomatoes eaten in the U.S. That's resulted in produce aisles selling tomatoes for $6, $7, even $8 a pound. Consumers are taking note, posting complaints online, even rushing to plant gardens. But the impact is felt most among businesses, some of whom rely on tomatoes by the crate load.
As a trauma surgeon, Dr. Joseph Sakrin knows all too well the dangers of guns in the wrong hands.
I see it in the operating room. I see it in the families that I have to sit down and explain to them that their child that left that morning is never coming home again.
But Sakrin's heartbreak for his young victims runs deeper to the core of what he is now, a doctor determined to save lives. Because when Sakrin was 17 years old, someone saved his. A stray bullet struck his neck after a football game.
It allowed me to really, I think, appreciate not only the second chance that I was given, but the opportunity that I have to use my life to give other people that same second chance.
Sakrin says prevention is the best medical treatment for a gunshot wound. That's why he's joined forces with the Ad Council's Agreed to Agree campaign, which aims to find nonpartisan common ground to answer one question: how do we stop gun injuries from being the #1 killer of kids?
The political noise is loud, but the common ground underneath it is real and wide. And this campaign is how we build on it.
The website has tips on how to talk to other parents about guns in the home, the warning signs of kids in crisis, how to secure firearms, and how to talk about preventing youth gun injuries in communities across the country.
The Ad Council's own research found that 80% of Americans in households with gun owners agree that safe storage would reduce gun violence. And when I think about that, that's not a fringe position, that's a supermajority.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
For people consulting artificial intelligence chatbots for medical advice, new research from Penn State reveals the technology responds to healthcare questions with about 76% accuracy. Analysts had study participants upload more than 200 prompts containing health-related symptoms to several large language models like ChatGPT. A team of 9 board-certified physicians then reviewed the responses the AI produced for mistakes.
Ear, nose, and throat queries, regarding, common colds, LLMs were reasonably good at answering.
According to researchers, AI software had more accuracy issues when it came to prompts regarding internal medicine, mental health, and dermatology.
And there's a good reason for that, right? I mean, because for most dermatological queries, a patient is required to send a picture of the particular area of skin that they're worried about and send it to an LLM.
Experts say people with access to a trusted doctor should not trade them in for AI.
If anybody is going to use language models, it is much better off in the hands of physicians who know how to interpret the outputs.
But with data from the World Health Organization revealing more than 50% of the globe's population doesn't have access to essential medical services,
the fact that they're able to get access to a medical chatbot or an LLM that can answer their health-related questions with a 76% accuracy, that seems to be a wonderful thing, right? Especially to that half of the population where they don't have access to a doctor. So that's one way to spin it.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
His father is in the arts.
You do an eclectic celebration of the dance. You do fussy, fussy, fussy. You do Martha Graham, Martha Graham, Martha Graham. Or Madonna, Madonna, Madonna. But you keep it all inside.
The Birdcage is back for its 30th anniversary. The award-winning comedy starring Robin Williams and Nathan Lane returns to theaters on Sunday, June 7th and Wednesday, June 10th. Check fathomentertainment.com for locations and showtimes.
The only thing we have left is hope.
Now that The Boys is over, fans can grab a piece of the popular show. Prop Store and Sony Pictures Television are auctioning off more than 450 pieces of super swag, including costumes worn by Anthony Starr's Homelander, Erin Moriarty's Starlight, Carl Urban's Billy Butcher, and Jack Quaid's Huey Campbell, as well as a set of glasses featuring The Seven. The auction runs through June 30th, with part of the proceeds going to support health care for people in need.
Our mother has a fever.
The deserts are expanding rapidly.
I know what you're thinking. Not another depressing climate documentary. Well, this film is different.
Groundswell looks at regenerative agriculture, which promotes biodiversity. The idea is to heal the planet by healing the soil and feed the world in the process. Groundswell, narrated by Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson, premieres on Prime Video Friday. In Hollywood, I'm David Dan.
The regenerative model, feed the world.
Out among the stars, that's where you'll find me.
A role-playing game breaks records. Streaming entertainers Legends of Avantris brought in over $16 million in its Neon Odyssey Kickstarter campaign. The successful project now ranks as the biggest Kickstarter tabletop RPG, the second biggest games Kickstarter, and 8th biggest Kickstarter project of all time. The Brick Knight returns. Warner Brothers Games says Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight will land on Nintendo's Switch 2 consoles September 18th. The game is out now for PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox. Poke News, Pokemon Champions goes mobile. The Pokemon Company International announces its turn-based battler will arrive on Android and iOS devices June 17th. The game is currently playable on Nintendo Switch. Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Take a look at this. It's a fluorescent glowing spider species that headlined a slew of fascinating new critters and creatures discovered in Central Africa, and its illuminating traits are leaving scientists scratching their heads. A recent survey conducted by the Wilderness Project documented dozens of species, some previously unknown to science, in the remote highlands of Angola, which organizers described as one of Africa's last great biodiversity blank spots. Bewildering examples include this spiny flower mantis, seen using its camouflage abilities to masterfully blend in with its surroundings, or this armored cricket, believed to be newly discovered, which researchers say may deter predators by auto-hemorrhaging or spraying its own blood. But back to our luminous long-legged headliner. Researchers say it is a previously unknown species of crab spider that glows radiantly when exposed to ultraviolet light. As to why, scientists say for now, they just don't know. On to another creepy crawly but consequential critter haul in Australia, where authorities seized more than 100,000 live exotic cockroaches from a commercial breeder. The country's Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water said the haul included dubia cockroaches and giant Madagascar hissing cockroaches, which are considered illegal invertebrates in Australia. Look, I'm sure officials were thrilled with the bust, which was the largest of its kind in Australia, valued at an estimated $200,000. Personally, I could have happily lived the rest of my life without knowing there are giant cockroaches that hiss. Ugh. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
George Washington, our nation's first president, had an affinity for freedom and apparently beer. The New York Public Library is bringing back Mr. Washington's personal beverage recipe for America's 250th birthday. A page from the president's military notebook shows his beer recipe recorded in 1757. If you want to make it yourself, the library posted his original handwritten instructions online with a transcript in case you, like me, can't read that writing, or you can take the shortcut, because the library partnered with Talia Beer Company to create a special brew called Liberty Lager, inspired by George Washington's more than 250-year-old instructions, noting in a post the goal was to brew an approachable beer that nods to George Washington's original recipe with subtle maltiness and a hint of hops. It'll be available around New York City this summer if that's how you choose to toast the anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush, fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app, available on Android and iOS devices, streaming 24/7.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
And I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.
This is what he's going to tell you.
Trying to find the first place to put a body. No, sir.
The only thing they could do was kill him.
Be the jury and to find the defendant